my job has been made easier by Dr. Ashish, that templating is the key. If you are doing a hip replacement, you need to understand the templating. Because if you will go in without templating, definitely you are going to land in limb-length discrepancy. Okay. So templating makes your life easy with that. So the incidence is quite high actually, but the acceptability and tolerability is better. Therefore, we don't realize that we have done some limb-length discrepancy. So in a study, it was seen that almost 75% they were within 5 mm, but then 12.5 they were more than 7 and 2% more than 10 mm. It means there is always some limb-length discrepancy which is there. Why we are worried about this? We need to understand, if we lengthen the limb, what will happen? So if you lengthen the limb, there can be a back pain, the gait becomes abnormal because the stability is not there. There will be a generalized hip pain. Person will start having sciatica or neuritis symptoms, the knee pain, and of course in long term you will have early loosening of the components. And definitely patients are quite dissatisfied. And at the end, I would like to tell you that this is the third important thing which causes litigation in US after this dislocations and sciatic nerve injury. So what are the causes? So the causes are the center of hip of rotation has been moved cranially, or the calcar retention, either it is too long or too short. Therefore, I told you that the templating is very important. And if you have done lot of soft tissue releases or you have under released it, then you will find that while doing the trials, you might lengthen your hip. So measurements can be done by a block method or by a standard tape method, which we have learned throughout our life. And radiologically, you can do by a plain X-ray and a CT scan. So it can be a true lengthening and apparent lengthening. We all know true is when there is some bony or a soft tissue problem in the limb, and apparent is when there is, apart from the equal length of the limb, if there is something wrong in the spine, or there is pelvic obliquity, or there is some contracture somewhere. So that also leads to limb length discrepancy, but we need to understand what is the difference between the two. So on X-ray, already Dr. Jeman has told you the lines which are very important. So the biischial lines and the teardrop lines, these are the two important lines which you need to understand, and then the distance of lesser tocator from there. So these three are the important lines which you need to understand, and then the whole length X-ray, that also gives you the length. So how can we overcome this limb length discrepancy? So as I told you, pre-operative templating is the most important thing. Then there are methods intraoperative which you can use it, and then the navigation and the robotic things which are come in. So the incidence definitely is going to decrease now. So templating is done on a normal hip, and then that is projected on the abnormal side. So you come to know exactly where is the center of rotation, what is the size of your acetabular cup, what is the size of your stem, and the length also. So this is very, very important. But the drawback with plain X-ray is that if the anteversion is too much or too less, then you might not get a proper offset value in that. So therefore, this has been explained to you, shown in this diagram very well. The pointer is not working. So the last one, when there is excessive anteversion, you will see that the offset decreases. So therefore, you need to have in your mind these things, that if there is an excessive anteversion, then you have to take care. In such scenarios comes the role of three-dimensional, as shown in the CT scan. So once you get a 3D scan, you can always see the anteversion, you can see the AP view as well. So this is what was talked about, trauma CAD, and in this you can easily make out the anteversion as well. So there are different techniques intraoperatively which you can see, so the conventional is that you mark 2 reference points, one in the pelvis and one in the femur, and then measure the distance. So that is the conventional. So it can be by a trochanteric point out or a iliac fixation pins or an intraoperative calipers. So these are the different methods by which you can do it. But the problem is that for these devices, if you want to use, the person has to be very, very stable on an operating table with the floor leveled, and the position of the hip must be reproduced precisely the same as you have done your markings. So that position has to be same. So these are the drawbacks which you need to take care of. So just quickly historical that what we have been using. So first was Maggie and Scott, which use this, and then there are other methods in which you can put a pin in the greater trochanter, the other in the acetabular ridge, and then you can measure this with the caliper. So but this takes a lot of time. So therefore then Dr. Ranawat's technique is also there, in which you put a pin in the infracondylite groove and then you can measure it. So these are the different techniques which have been used. So one simple technique is that if you put a pin in the ilium at the superior to the acetabulum, and then you mark on the greater trochanter area by a thread, and then you can easily do the releases, and then you can measure the distance, that whatever you have planned, that you have achieved or not, the lengthen, if the hip is short. So this is again one technique. So again, so another which we have been reading for long time, that the greater trochanter should be the center of rotation. So this is a rough technique, so you will not do the errors, huge errors. So this is again a technique which can be used. So like this you can do, and then the image also you can take it like this. Computer assisted navigation, we all know that they are doing wonders at present. So that, then the important things are when you are putting the acetabular cup, you need to understand what things are important. So TAL is something which is very, very important, and teardrop on radiology. So these two things you always remember, right? So TAL, if you put your reamer exactly parallel to the TAL, you will never err on anteversion in a normal hip. So again, to see the limb length, you can, what you can do, you can measure the thickness of the acetabular component and the femoral component, head and the neck, and then you, if you add it, your effective length comes. So this has been shown here. So these are the different ways how you can tweak with the length. So if the length is less, you can increase the size of the neck. If there is, you can decrease the shaft angle, or you can also shift the trinion medially or laterally. So these are the different ways how you can use it. So again, in a coxa vara, you can do it. In a coxa valga, the same way you can do it. So there are few intraoperative techniques. Once you have done, once you come to the trial, you do the trial, and then these 2-3 tests are very, very important. One is leg to leg test, the other is shuck test, and third is the drop kick test. So shuck test is when you give a traction and you see that how much the joint is opening. So this is an important, if it is too tight, you will not be able to, if it is too loose, you will be easily able to distract it. Then the drop kick test, if the hip is too tight and you extend the hip, then the knee kicks.
Dr. Sandeep, please be on time.
Okay, sorry, I think it's almost over, nothing much. So the take home message is, careful pre-operating designing, templating avoids the limb length discrepancy, and the leg length should be compared by various methods during the surgery, and accurate templating plus accurate intraoperative reconstruction is equal to accurate leg length reconstruction. Thank you.